Now for realsies, Joe. What's up with this leaks from Xbox? This thing's out of control, dude. Like a ton of
Exclusive.
information and leaked email. Oh, wait.
Exclusive.
Ah, exclusive. There you go. So, all right. I'm gonna start with, I guess, the less important, the less important one, which is that they are. Um, there was a leak where they showed what the, I guess, refreshed Xbox Series X would look like. Um, if you like Bluetooth speakers, you'll be quite at home with this design. Um, I also thought about the trash can Mac Pros. Remember those?
Yep.
So it kind of looks, kind of a cylinder with a fan on the top. Kind of like, well, I was like, oh well, Apple discontinued their trash can Macs. Why don't we just use their design and make an Xbox like that? So the big thing on this one, right, is that it doesn't have a disk uh, drive. So it has improved power supply, a Wi-Fi 6. They added improved accessories, power efficiency, and whatnot. Same price, 499, but no disk drive. In 2 terabyte, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 2 terabyte. It is they're doing it. They're doing it. They're just gonna go ahead and cut. So I don't know, right? We'll see how this goes. I know that at the moment, if you have an Xbox, it would make perfect sense for you to have Game Pass, which it would totally be the purpose of this device,
Yeah.
and it is kind of the purpose of the Series S too, right? Um, but it's gotten to the point where I think that Xbox is just gonna stop printing games, and they're gonna print games for the rest of the generation because of the original Series X having a disk drive, and they're gonna just give you the option, right? If you are, I guess, an early adopter of the console, but they're done. Like this is the Game Pass machine, and they're doing it. So, yeah. What do you think? What do you think of the design? And I mean, where do you think this is going?
Yeah, honestly, I know a lot of people are cracking on just the look of it. It doesn't bother me. Um, I think it's fine
Yeah,
personally. Like it's weird.
it's like the squared
It's
box thing.
it's this two Yeah, it's weird, but it doesn't actually bother me. And at the end of the day, like it's just gonna sit there on the side of my television if I'm gonna have something like this, and I'm just gonna play games, right? So as long as it got its power and its thing, the thing could look like a shoe, and if it works good, great. But I will say, as for the all digital, like you're saying, this is a huge step for them because it's inevitable. We knew it was coming, and it makes sense because of how successful Game Pass is. And Microsoft really probably just said, let's just fully commit and basically have this be the gateway to whatever their next gen is. Like this is probably going to be just the setup of what they plan for their next iteration. And we saw this coming. Statistics show us that most people are buy games digitally. Some of it has to do, like, think for example, the recent NBA 2K drop. A lot of people, it's an online game. People want to play it with their friends. If they wait for the physical copy, they have to physically go to the store and get it the next day during business hours. Where if it's digital, they could download it exactly at midnight and be ready to go. Where there used to be midnight events at stores, that's a thing of the past,
Yeah,
right? So it's a different time. I'm nostalgic. Like and Kotaku mentions a great point in their breakdown of this when they're like, nothing beats going to your GameStop and going through the local bargain bin and getting $10 Far Cry 6, and you can just pop that disc in
yeah,
for up for a super bargain, play it, or maybe your friend has a game that they played. I don't know, but I've got, I'm playing Assassin's Creed Mirage and you weren't thinking of buying it, when I'm done with it, I hand you the disc,
Yeah,
and then you
exactly.
go
Yeah,
play at your house and you have fun and cool with it because I'm done playing it. Yeah, I know that costs them money, but like as a consumer, I love having that versatility and having the ability to just pick something out like that, and physically. But understanding that the next generation doesn't value that the way we used to back in the day. The times have changed, and
yeah,
it's this nostalgia for me in that sense. But yeah, I don't think anything is wrong actually with them going all digital. I don't think anything's terribly wrong with the design of it. I'm actually a little bit more, when we start talking about some of the other things we'll get into, that's where some of the concern starts to come to me with the we're talking about gambling. Some of the gambling that's going on in the businesses, that's where the real problem is. It's not in the console. It's not in the program around having a digital based thing. It's something else. We'll talk about that for sure.
yeah. But I think the big thing out of all these leaks was leaked emails,
Yep.
and like it. Okay, I felt physically ill reading some of this stuff. Like if you think that Phil Spencer is an upstanding great guy for gaming, right? No, bro. Like, and that's why he's out there saying, "Oh, it is unfortunate that these internal communications were published out so other people can read them." Dude. So this is basically, I mean, it all in summary is like we're gonna win at any cost, literally any cost. Like we will pay whatever amount of money necessary to win, and that's what Xbox has been doing for the last 4 years. Buying everything so they just win by default, right? Could you imagine? All right. So could you imagine Ford, the Ford Motor Company, right?
Sure.
They go, hey, you know what may be a good idea? We should buy Toyota. They make great cars, but they're boring cars. But our cars are, you know, loud and obnoxious and gigantic. So why don't we just buy the boring, reliable company, and that way we can have more market in Japan. That's technically, basically, what it is. Like this is, I was like, oh, let's buy Nintendo. It's some leaked emails back from 2020, where before the Activision thing got done, um, Phil Spencer bragging that buying Nintendo would have been like a career thing for him. It's like great. It's like you're monopolizing the industry. What a great achievement, jerk, dude. Like I'm not. I'm upset. Like I don't care, right? About Activision, all that, right? I rarely, I probably the only Activision game that I bought in the last 10 years. Actually, I bought two. It was the Transformers, um,
Oh
the
yeah, Cybertron.
no, not Cybertron. Well, that was PS3, but last 10 years, Devastation,
Oh yeah.
the platinum game ones. That's really good. Um, that one and Sekiro because they published Sekiro and it was a From Software game. That's the only.
Mm,
That's why I bought Sekiro, right? So I didn't buy Sekiro because it was published by Activision. It was because it was From Software game.
yeah.
So I don't care. I don't have any Bethesda games. I don't have any Blizzard games. I don't care, right? I don't care. Because they're on PC. They do the thing. They're you can still play even if you don't have an Xbox. Yeah, you have a PC, a decent PC, you can still play these games. But when you're talking about getting or purchasing a direct competitor, whether they like it or not, whether they present it to the court that Nintendo and Microsoft and Xbox are two very different things, and they're doing two different things, and they're not really competing against each other. They are. At the end of the day, they are, right? And just buying your competitors doesn't make you great.
Wow.
Buying your competitors makes you a sore loser with a deep pocket. And you know, I'm sorry. Yeah, Phil turned it around. Spend $100 billion buying stuff, and here's PlayStation still selling them like 2 to 1, and here's Nintendo with a freaking like atrocious port of Mortal Kombat 1 that is laughable, and is still outselling you 3 to 1, right? So you know, I, I don't know. I lost a lot of respect for Phil in the last few days, and I want to say in the last 6 months. Like my
Yeah.
like my image of Phil has definitely come down quite a bit. I don't feel the same way that I was like, oh yeah, he turned Xbox around. But when you look at it, right, it's like it's like the bully, buying all the other, giving the other kids in recess money so they don't play with you, right? It's it's rough, and I know, whatever corporations, they the capitalism and the whatever, right? I know, right? But you know, you don't see this in other industries,
Yeah.
because other industries are not sore losers. And yeah, you just couldn't fathom Microsoft losing, right? And so you had to like go nuts and spend $100 billion buying stuff so you can be relevant at least, right? Um, I don't know, man. This is nuts, right? Um,
Yeah.
and go ahead. I'm gonna, because I can keep going until like
No,
midnight here, dude.
no, you're good. You're good. I want to hear more from you, but like I just want to read off this passage here for a second and you'll see what we're talking about. But like over the past 5 to 7 years, this is from the leaked memos. Over the past 5 to 7 years, the AAA publishers have tried to use production scale as their new moat. Very few companies can afford to spend the 200 million in Activision or Take-Two spend to put a title like Call of Duty or Red Dead Redemption on the shelf. These AAA publishers have mostly used this production skill to keep their top franchises in the top selling games each year. The issue these publishers have run into is these same production scale costs approach hurts their ability to create new IP. What the heck does he know about creating new IP? I'm sorry. You want to talk about creating
Halo
new
Gears and
IP.
Forza, Halo Gears and Forza, Halo Gears and Forza.
This what is this guy doing to help create new intellectual properties to bring in creative studios to work on stuff for his platform? What has he done for that? And he's over here talking about this approach is hurting great. I'm sorry, man. When I read that, I wanted to fall out of my chair. What the heck is he talking about here, dude?
I don't know.
Because I'm sorry, you have no business commenting on what it takes financially to help output these types of things when you aren't even doing anything to help the industry get to that place. Even with you purchasing these studios, you're buying studios to make sure you have the same content, Call of Duties and all the exclusive coming to your platforms, not to make anything new.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, dude. It's like it. If it was like all, and not even right. If we were talking about like 2000s Microsoft,
Yeah,
I may have not been as upset as I am, because I am still upset about this crap. But the problem is that we've seen it in the last 15 years that Microsoft does not know how to manage game studios. All of their game studios underperforming, over budget, missing release dates, unfinished games.
yeah.
Bro, their mismanagement on studios and IPs are, I don't want to say the IPs, right? Because you still have Forza, you still have Gear,
No, sure.
yeah, you still have Halo, Gears, and Forza. Although Halo right now it's, yeah, kind of iffy.
No, it
But
was.
but you got all of their others, like what's Rare doing? like more Sea of Thieves content. I've been same game for 10 years now or whatever. So what I would be concerned, right, if Microsoft would have gone and done the Nintendo is the mismanagement of the Nintendo properties and their games. Because this is not just like, oh yeah, now we
No,
could have had Mario on Xbox and PC.
no, no, no.
It's not as simple as that, right? Because you would get it, right? But then the next Mario is a Mario MMO or Mario free to play, you know, gacha game. That's the thing, right? And that's the problem. They would mismanage their this. Oh,
Yeah,
we're gonna have Zelda with great graphics. Are you sure? But Zelda with great graphics, but you would have to pay $5 for Majora's Mask instead of just finding it on a treasure chest after actually finishing a challenge in the game, right? That's the thing. So I really like again, and I think my problem, and I know that fanboys will say it's like, well, they got deep pockets, they can just buy everything and win, right? Yeah, who wants to win like that? Who want like they cannot win on their own merit, so they can just go ahead and buy everything. That way they can have everything and win, right? Again, but it goes to show, right? Again, PlayStation still outselling them, strongly. The Switch with their, uh, underpowered 6-year-old hybrid console still outselling them. Because about at the end of the day, it's about the experiences.
yeah,
So Microsoft, the Xbox has become the console where everything works fine, but there's
yeah,
nothing new. You know, there's no storytelling masterpiece. There's no open world adventure. Grand adventure. There's they don't know how to take advantage of their hardware. They don't. I don't know, man. It is so bizarre what's going on at Xbox right now, and again, yeah, I get fans are gonna laugh at it. Xbox fanboys are like rejoicing because they have like yeah they can just buy everything and win, haha, we won. But who, you know what kind of I get it, that's capitalism, yeah, well they won, but at the end of the day, bro, and Microsoft's biggest competitor right now is probably Apple. And Apple's outselling Microsoft on everything, right? On laptops, on tablets, not to mention phones. They had to get out of the phone business
seriously.
because they got destroyed. So when you think about it, right? And you know, and not even that. It's like not even the phone. That you got a full ecosystem with
Yeah,
wearables and headphones and all that, right? And Microsoft just couldn't get into that market. Like they tried, they did the Zune, and the Zune was a great product, right? But you just couldn't get to the cool factor that the iPod had. And we go back to like the Surface, but yeah, it has a touchscreen and everything, but it's not as cool as the MacBook Pro.
you know those.
Right? I know, I know
Nobody knows
those.
about it.
I know those, man. Macs are set it and forget it. I don't have to worry about you doing something weird to your machine. It will, yeah, it'll fix itself.
You don't check on us Mac guys as
No,
much.
I don't. I don't. No, you guys are self sufficient. I'm worried about the guys with the Dells. That's what I'm worried about. So
You just called out all the Dells. You can sponsor us if you'd like to. Send an email to nolotime@gmail.com. And the entire show will be sponsored by Dell.
you go. Yeah, we'll sell out. Uh, but
Dell
yeah.
microphone, Dell headphones, whatever they
Oh
have, bro,
man,
we're in
I'm
it.
telling you. But that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
It bugs me because they just wanna It's just that they can't do anything on their own, and it's the Microsoft mantra, right? That,
Oh, for
oh,
sure.
we can't compete with this company. Let's go ahead and buy it, or let's go ahead and buy their other competitors so we can at least compete, right? But to this day, dude, like, and dealing with Adobe is not easy, and I mean at like a
Yeah.
support level and
Yeah.
it's not easy, right? But it's incredible that to this date, like Microsoft cannot compete with Adobe. Like none of their products compete with anything that Adobe offers. Like they try to
Whew.
make PDFs on Edge a thing. No, man, that's not gonna happen. I'm downloading this Reader DC, man. I am. So that's and that has been Microsoft problem since always, right? It's like I like this thing, I'm gonna buy it. Skype, you know, like whatever. I think right the best product that Microsoft ever made is Teams, and it has its flaws, but for the most part, I have nothing but positive things about to say about Teams. But the what Teams is there because they have to buy like another 15 companies.
Right.
So and to make Teams happen. And that's the thing, right? It's like they can't do anything on their own merit. They have to keep buying this other stuff so they can create new things. And you know, and again, the same goes for like Meta and Google, right? But
Sure. Yep.
they're not as egregious as Microsoft. Like Microsoft is like they will try to take you out.
That's all they do.
They will try to take you out of business, and that's the thing with that really bothers me about them. So, man, it's like Phil. I don't know. It's like yeah, having deep pockets doesn't make you a winner, right? So it's just very very I don't know. It's strange. Not to mention like they had to scramble to get games out last year because I mean last year they didn't have any exclusives, right? Ready big exclusives.
No, no,
So they
yeah.
had to scramble to get like third party stuff out as like time
Yeah.
exclusive because they didn't have anything. So and we all knew, like we talked about it many times on the podcast, and other gaming channels and shows talked about it.
Absolutely.
There's like, oh, was Xbox doesn't really have anything this year. Meanwhile, you have Horizon and you have God of War, and it's like, and Gran Turismo, and bro, now this year they don't like. I still don't look at Starfield like an Xbox game because that game was a Bethesda game that they just bought, right?
Yeah.
This is not an Xbox game,
Totally.
and you know, again, other than their three franchises. Well, they're trying to bring back Fable. That looks great, right? So, um, yeah, man. I don't know. They're like a jack of all trades, not master of none, basically at this point,
Mm,
and they're just
yeah.
buying stuff to be good at something. So I don't know if you have any other closing comments or thoughts before I talk about the Oreo controller.
Yeah, I just agree with you. I think the statement you said, just because you can buy everything doesn't make you the best. I think that's like a very profound statement. I mean, that could have been the title of this episode alone. I mean, that's just it's just so fantastic because, you have the money, you have that Bill Gates money, right? That's flowing through. They're living off of success from, another sector of the business. Let's be real. I don't think Xbox as a company is really their sales. There's no way that they're really in profit
Yeah, compared to
that much at all.
compared to a short office, it's chunk change.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's probably just a break even, a little bit, a little soft numbers, and that's it. And for a long time, they've been basing themselves off of the success of the Xbox 360. Like from that time where everyone that had a 360 was happy with it for the most part. Um, they just haven't been able to come back since that time. And there's a lot of people who have been Xbox loyalists that grew up with it at that time that still have their Xbox. And I think even those people know it's not great, but that's just the brand of choice for them. That loyalty only goes so far. I think PlayStation and Nintendo, they're trying to now create experiences for their player for their community, and I think when people start to then see as that flows into whatever goes into again the next generation, which won't be till what, another 3 years from now or whatever it's supposed to be,
2028, based
right?
on the
So,
leaks. You know.
which I think is great. I think that's the right timing.
Yeah, I think
I
so
don't think
too.
anytime
Yeah.
sooner. Yeah, like I am very, very, very curious now with this all digital and on all these fronts and with the leaks coming out now. Between now and that time, Obed, does Phil Spencer stay in power? I don't think so. If I was a betting
Oh,
man, I would say he is not in power between now and 2028.
interesting.
Yep.
Interesting that you feel like that.
Yeah, man. It's a throwing it out there. I have no inside information, but I just cannot imagine this is going to stay. This is a really low point publicly now for them. They've spent a whole lot of money acquiring these other properties. Yeah, you have the money just because you can, but I don't. I think when Nintendo does what they're going to do with this next iteration of the Switch, I don't know, man, how this is going to affect them. There's a new generation coming in, and it's not an Xbox One.
Interesting. Um, yeah, man, I guess I didn't see it like that, but sure. You know, that's a sentiment I can probably, I can totally see it.
Yeah.
Um, man, it's just that I don't know. It was ever since the reveal of the Xbox One, right? It's been going. This has been going on for 10 years, dude. 10 years, 10 and a half years,
Wow.
and ever since that moment, like we knew, like what their priorities were, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that they were the humiliation was so bad
Yeah.
that they told Phil, "It's like, listen, here's $100 billion, fix it." And and to this date, right? It's like, yeah, Starfield's doing great, but but you had to buy them. You had to buy it. You didn't make it. You didn't make it.
No, no. Yeah.
So it's like saying, it's like, could you imagine if I um like you say for example you're working on a project, right?
Yeah.
And and you finish your project and you deliver your project, right? And I just gave you like I gave you a pointer. It's like, oh, here's a, you know, could you, I think this would be a good idea to add this thing to the project. And you finish your project, you deliver it, right? And the next meeting, I stand up and say, "It's like, well, I want to congratulate myself for the project that I finished." And that's basically what he's been doing. Others like,
Yes.
we are very proud of of Starfield. It's like, you didn't work on it.
No.
Bethesda did.
You bought it.
You bought it. I
Don't get it,
it's
man.
just, I don't know. Maybe it's just the ethics guy in me that's like, I
Yeah.
have very low patience for this sort of grandstanding,
Oh, for sure.
and it's just the way I feel.